Hi everyone and welcome to Protocol 36, and in today's video we'll be theorizing how Tom Holland's, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's versions of Spider-Man interact and meet in the movie, which was suggested by sketchbook_audio from Twitter. But before we get started, if at any point you enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like, as that would really help out the channel. Thank you. But one of the ways I think they could meet is when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield drops into the MCU's reality. Probably all three of them will fight each other, or they could both team up and fight Tom Holland's Spider-Man because they saw him on the news killing someone called Mysterio, who the Bugle said is a hero. And obviously when they find Tom Holland's Peter Parker, there will be some kind of misunderstanding, and MCU Peter Parker, after finding out Mysterio was a fraud in Spider-Man Far From Home, he will still think that the multiverse concept is still just a theory that hasn't been proven to be real from his perspective, which obviously in the MCU we know it's a real thing. And obviously they could fight until they realize that they're making a big mistake by fighting each other, and that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are actually from the multiverse, specifically from a different reality, which is the Raimiverse and the Amazing Spider-Man universe. And Tom Holland's Peter Parker isn't a criminal, and that he's actually a hero who has been framed by Mysterio. Personally, I don't think it will start off with a fight. It could definitely start off with a fight, and I could kind of see that happening. But I think because both Andrew Garfield and especially Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker knows what it's like to be vilified by the Bugle, so they would probably think that maybe the same could be happening in this reality. The MCU's J. Jonah Jameson looks almost exactly like his J. Jonah Jameson from his reality. So from his perspective, nothing has really changed. I think what would be pretty hilarious is if the way they first interact each other is by doing the whole Spider-Man finger pointing meme, which if done properly could be a great scene. However, because it's a meme, they will have to do it in a way it's not cringy and that everyone would love. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse did this in the post-credit scene, which everyone loved, though you could argue that because this is animated, it was able to somewhat get away with it, but because in Spider-Man No Way Home it's going to be live action, it might be a little difficult to do so. However, I really want to know what you guys think about this. Do you want this to happen, or do you think it will be cringy? I'm really curious of what you guys think when it comes to that. One way they could meet up is thanks to Doctor Strange finding them. Obviously Doctor Strange being a mystical character who's pretty much taking care of reality and making sure that everything is in check, he will know at first hand that there are other people from different dimensions that are coming into this world, and that he will probably make sure that both Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man are taken care of until Doctor Strange finds a way to bring them back to their own realities respectively. Personally, I think this is one of the more likely ones to happen. It would make the most sense, especially when we know that Spider-Man No Way Home will some way set up Doctor Strange in the multiverse of madness, so they could in a way use that to say that Doctor Strange has been trying to fix reality and making sure that the multiverse isn't in chaos, since he was missing for 5 years thanks to the snap. So this would definitely make a lot of sense. But personally, I think what will most likely happen is that Tom Holland's Peter Parker will face the villains from the Raimiverse and the Amazing Spider-Man universe, so characters like Alpha Luna's Darkhawk, Jamie Foxx's Electro, and possibly even Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, who has been heavily rumored to show up in this film as the main villain. Personally, I think if this was going to happen, I think it will take place sometime after Peter Parker is clearing his name, which I think will take place somewhere in the beginning of the film, in order to see how they will handle the aftermath and what happened at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. But after he's faced those villains and he meets Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, he would probably tell them about those villains, which will cause Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to wonder how those villains possibly survived and traveled into Tom's reality, which is the MCU, causing them to team up and face the Sinister Six together, which are rumored to be a thing in Spider-Man No Way Home. I think when they do eventually meet up, they will somewhat get along. Maybe there could be a fight in order to have some level of drama and action, but I think even if they were to fight, I do think that all three of them will still get along, as they are pretty much kind of the same people, though each of them do have major differences. But what I'm really hoping is that we get a scene where all three Spider-Man are pretty much chilling, talking about their Earths, talking about their lives, and talk about how similar and different each of their lives have been, while also eating pizza together. I think not only would that be a great scene for each of the characters to get to know each other, but also be pretty emotional, as they could have a scene where they both talk about their Aunt May's and possibly even their Uncle Ben's, which is also something a lot of people want. And I also think that would be a great way to mention Uncle Ben in the MCU. However, what about you guys? How do you think all three Spider-Man are going to interact and meet each other? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please like, and want more, subscribe. To begin, Protocol 36.